Hello everyone, and welcome to today's live stream where I've just been experimenting with quite a few things, and there's some interesting developments with hair simulation that I want to go over that Jax Luke has been working on, but we will get to that later. First of all, I'm just going to play with the stuff that I've been working with. I want some feedback from the community about it, because I have some plans. Warning, Cartesian Caramel threatens to make a PR with very little coding experience. But I have some ideas, and also there's like the attribute bundle thingy bopper that I need to get some feedback on. But yes, for today, at the very least, I want to start out with some changes that I've made to Eevee Next. Now everything that I'm going to be showing today will be in custom builds. This will not be in officially in Blender 5.1 unless some developments happen. So these are just experiments. Don't hold your breath all too much. But anyway, as we can see here, the sampling in Eevee looks a little bit different. It's not noisy. There is no noise. And I've also exaggerated everything so that you can see just, you know, everything. But this is with the blue noise disabled. I found out where the the noise calculations are made inside of Eevee's source code, and I decided to give it a go. Now we can see it doesn't work too well with things like, I don't know, just very bright lights. I have made it so that there's no fast GI approximation. If we do that, we can see that things resolve a lot faster and look a lot neater. But I want to exaggerate the, the noise in this case. So here we can see the shadows just look jittered. But this has actually made me discover, here, let me hide these, some interesting things about the shadows in Eevee Next compared to Eevee Legacy. So by default, jittering is off, which if we disable the noise, this is just my lack of understanding with how Eevee Next works. I thought that the jittering would remove the noise. It doesn't. It changes the calculations. Because with the noise removed, we can see that it's like jittered shadows, but there's a lot more light leaking. And I noticed the light leaking, not linking, when I've been working on projects. One of the reasons why I've fluctuated between still using 4.1 and the later versions. But with jittered shadows, you can turn them on. You have to turn them on for every single light in scene, which is a little unfortunate. But we have those options, but it does slow down the render. I think, I forget if I saw this in a PR somewhere else, but, or no, wait, it's in the tooltip, isn't it? It has a high performance impact. From what I've seen, it makes it about 30% slower, which, yeah, I would say that's a high performance impact. Which is why, again, with Eevee Next, turn down the shadow resolution as much as you can if you want any kind of performance to happen. But yeah. So with that on or off, we can see that's like that. But either way, it's interesting to see what it looks like without noise, without blue noise. Because for some reason, the noise in Eevee Next irks me quite a bit. It's something feels off to my guts. But with that there, we can have this. I have noticed, because the way I've been implementing the changes has been a bit weird. I can see, maybe, oh wait, this might be because I'm calculating the texels wrong. We can see that these, actually no, the texels aren't even taken into account in this setup, so it's not that. We can see that there's some weird errors over here, which may be because I'm doing it wrong. But, actually, wait, let's check the precision. If I turn the precision down, we can see that things look a little bit different. So maybe it's something to do with that. And then if I turn down the dimensions, we can see that things get very pixelated, which there is no interpolation whatsoever with these lower types. But if we turn this on, we can see that, yeah, and this is a weird quirk. Eevee Next is quite quirky, which I want to see what I can do with it. So right here, this is set to 16, so we just get pixelated, but also blurred noise, which is weird. That feels like a bug to my gut, but that's to my gut. And then we have that. So with that out of the way, let's go and switch to another version. Here, let me go and switch to the Be Right Back screen. Which we've seen, absolutely no dithering, no noise whatsoever. So I want to show you another alternative that I cooked up very hastily. There's no way this is accurate whatsoever, but it is a more ordered dithering, a more, not hierarchical. Just taking the texel, multiplying it by 0.025, and then fractioning it, and then putting it through, and we can see that it looks like it resolves a lot cleaner, a lot nicer. Even though, again, you get that very obvious dithering pattern there. And again, this is with no denoising. If we turn on denoising, we can see that a pattern occurs. Now, I think, because people have complained a lot about Eevee Next noise making NPR setups really difficult to work with. And I think if there was an option, like with cycles, which this build does not have cycles. Wait, I thought oh wait, let me go into preferences, there's preferences. Add-ons, cycles, there we go. Unfortunately, when I build these release builds, I can't use the GPU, which is very unfortunate. In cycles, you have the ability to... Where is the advanced? Here we go. We can switch the pattern from classic to blue noise, and we can also straight up disable the noise dithering in cycles. Wait, huh? Where's the viewport? There we go. There we go. So here in this case, we can see I've gone... It's slow because it's using the CPU. Hopefully my microphone is coming through okay. But we can see, without this, we're getting a somewhat similar result. But it would be nice if we had the option in Eevee Next. I think what people complain about a lot with Eevee is that it feels like our options with that are just noise. We don't really have too many options with that. Even with, if we were to go into base Eevee, which let's go and switch over to that. I swear this TED Talk will be over in a second. Which build do I have? Actually, yeah, we can move on to the next build, which we will get into in a second. This is going to be a normal Blender build file. Open. Please wait while I load some cool stuff. But here is Eevee in its natural habitat. Something just feels off. I don't know why, but just something's up. So, if we had the option to go and... Oh yeah, let's go and use Cycle's GPU so that we can see the differences with all this. Again, with our options here, let's change this to be viewport. We can change it to blue noise, which will look a bit different. Wait, oh. Oh, this is gonna have to load the CUDA kernels. CUDA? Just, or let's go to optics, please, for the love of God, work. There we go. It has to load the course, doesn't it? Oh no, oh, we're good. Okay, there we go. Yay, using the GPU, a novel thing for me. Okay, so there we go. So we have that, that's the blue noise, this is a classic noise. So having these options is very nice. And then again, if you have classic on, we could go and just straight up disable all that. Though it does seem kind of slower, which is interesting. Is it actually slower? Huh. Or maybe that's... Wait a minute. It's weird. Oh, is it because of the... We turn denoising off. Turn off... it's the noise threshold. That's what's up. Because I'll be like, oh yeah, there's no noise, because obviously there is no noise. But yeah, we can see here that it's building up in this kind of way, which, you know, you might rarely need for some projects. I actually didn't know this existed before I started playing around with everything. But yeah. So, if we could have those options, I am thinking about making a PR, but to be honest, I don't know how to add in the options in the UI, and I don't know how to properly make it so that I could switch between the blue noise texture and the other stuff. Because I just manipulated a function that I really should not have manipulated if I was making a proper PR. But just like a little thing in like the sampling, you know, just have an option in the... I don't know, like down, maybe not viewport render, shadows, advanced, yeah, oh yeah, maybe just put it in advanced like with the other one. Light threshold, just put in a little option right there for blue noise, ordered, or I don't know, the different dithering patterns, and then one for none. I would really like to do that because Eevee is my bread and butter. I use it for basically all the projects that I post. Professionally, you know, we just ray trace everything with cycles and use very powerful machines, of course. But I like Eevee. It's what I use the most. So I want to make it better. And from what I saw, from my experiments, it shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't be too bad to just have enum for different noise options, like, again, with cycles. So I know that this is a future request, but I want to see if I'm gonna spend maybe a couple days seeing if I could implement it, then make a PR, and then maybe other stuff can happen, but it would be cool to see. Yes. And then, like, the denoising options, I do want to look into how the denoising options work to see if there are any, if I could see why the normals blur as much as they do, especially with metals. I think it might just be because it would be interesting to see if the normal pass is blurred, but I have no idea what I'm talking about right there. But yes. Okay, so that is it for that part. Since I've bored you all with this thing, we've been talking about this for 11 minutes. Let's go and switch to the meat and potatoes, oh my god. I need to update my sayings. To the meat of this thing, which is hair simulation. So this is another experimental build that Jax has been working on. I think this build is literally from today. They made the build bot do the thing. We can see that it's interesting. That's hair physics. That is straight up hair physics. So when I first opened this, I was a bit intimidated by that. How many windows are open? I always get intimidated by that. So let me just go and simplify this by a fair bit. And let's go. Does the theme look a little bit different in 5.2? It looks a little bit darker here. It's like one shade. Oh, no, it's multiple subpanels. That explains it. Okay. Let me read the chat. How can I understand nodes like many people do? You gotta play around with them. Look at the documentation on them and just play around with them. But the best thing you could do is learn the domains and the data types. That is the best thing to learn. What is a 2D vector versus a regular vector? What is a 8? Well, you don't need to know what 8-bit integer is. It's the same as a regular integer, but some fancy stuff. And now we also have 4-dimensional vectors. And we can only input 3 dimensions of that 4-dimensional vector in the UI, which is very, very funny. But yeah, just learn all that, the domains and data types, and you'll be doing good. And then, yeah, everything just falls into place because geometry nodes is all about getting data, manipulating data, and setting data. But yes. Okay. Did you make this project open source, the previous one as well? I published the branch. So yeah, it is, if you take a look at my Git stuff, it is up on there, but I just changed 2 lines of code. Literally 2 lines of code. I just switched. Oh wait, which file is it in? So to change the Eevee, if you wanted to go and try this yourself, if you build the Eevee code, it is in, I'm looking at VS Code right now, because I changed it. It should be in, yes, Eevee utility tx lib.glsl, where you need to go to utility tx sample function. If you change that to output a float4, which is just whatever float4 you want, it will work out just, oh wait, no, I have a screenshot I could show you. This is why you take screenshots, so that you can easily drag and drop them into your scene and show people what you do. So yeah, so this is the part that I changed. Just like, oh, before it was texel fetch, and that is an Eevee utility to GLSL, and then I just swapped it with this. Again, very stupid, but it works. You just get the texel and all that. Oh wait, did I copy that? Oh no, yeah, I did copy that correctly. I think the value layer is like the general seed that goes on. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just playing around with it. But you need to output a float 4, a 4D vector. A 4D float. It's the same difference. But also, when I was playing around with it, I got some cool errors. I don't know why this happened, but it's pulling some sort of information there, and I don't know why that happened. But it's cool. But it is very, very cool. Alright, let's get back to the hair simulation. Sorry for going back to that again. So here, I don't know much about this, so I want to go and explore what actually happens. So this appears to be an icosphere that moves around wibbly-wobbly style. And then there's some hair curves that generate, they get attached, and then hair physics happens. Okay. So all this is in one part. Okay, good to know. I'm going to try to make my own. So let's see. I think I will go and we can't apply this because it's on there. This part, the hair curves are there, and then that in the hair dynamics. Okay, so this is probably a better option. Let me go and reset this to be 0. So there's a store rest surface node, which we can see here. Oh, this is interesting. That is interesting. Remove. I assume that this would just be store rest position do that, but it's storing the entire rest surface. Interesting. Okay. Now that makes sense. So that you already have it available so that it doesn't need to recalculate for every single object you have it on. That's smart. That's smart. You just store it once and then that's good. Okay. So you store another geometry inside the geometry. It makes it slightly more expensive, but it would be less, it's much less expensive in the long run. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. And then here we have these, which their surface UV coordinates already stored. And then here is the actual, okay, so that is the attachment surface for the UV map. Since you have the rest position, this is an interesting, and then the get rest surface, okay. In the surface deformers that I made that works on hair, points, instances, all that kind of stuff, I wanted to make that very generalized. I made it so that you don't need the UV surface on the actual geometry. You just need it'll just take the position and then find the rest position and all that, and it makes it very nice and convenient. But it's interesting with the bundle storage. That might actually be a better way of doing it. Just for efficiency's sake, because you won't have to redeform the object every single time. Yeah. Yeah, interesting, interesting. So let me go over to here, and this is so... I want to split these up, so let me just copy this and convert this to... Convert to curves. Okay, so we do have that, that's fine. I'm going to select you, and then we're just going to have you as the output. To copy you, set attachment surface, UV. All right, and we see when we copy nodes, and all that's good. Let's bring that in, so there's the geometry. Surface and deforms. Oh, intriguing. Let's do. My brain is still in Eevee land, so it's that and then the deformed. Does that actually work? Let me go and check the original. Oh, okay. Because I need to store the rest. So. The main mesh here, I just need to go and store... Wait a minute. Oh, right. My brain is not functioning correctly right now. So let's go and get the... Which one was it? The set attachment surface. Not that. It was the store rest surface. Man, my brain is all over the place right now. Store, attachment, what? Or rest surface, right? Store rest surface. There we go. Okay, so now with this, it should work just fine. In theory. I mean, something's happening. It's not what we want. Maybe I flipped around the inputs. Actually, set that to relative. Rest surface and deform surface. So it goes there. Get rest surface, and then all that happens. Oh. Wait, what? Oh, dang it. My brain. Sorry, everyone. My brain. It's in 15 places, and none of them are here. But yes, there we go. Now we can see it works out just fine. You just have the object and then the specified UV map, as long as the object has the rest position stored. Then there is also the add part right there, but that does not, yeah. That is that, so we have all that, and then that works out just fine. So let's get to the actual hair dynamics after looking around all that. Let's see. 4D vectors in Blender is actually so great. I wish they would let us have 2D inputs and 4D inputs, though. It's a bit awkward at the moment. Yeah, I think it's just a UI thing that they probably haven't gotten to. Let's see. Vector is in custom properties. Let me go and add in a custom property. This can be a float or a float array, which is kind of like a vector, you know. So you could have an array length of however many you want and all that there. And in geometry nodes, they're much more, it can't be arbitrary length. That just doesn't make sense. So here we just have this and yada yada. Was there? I think I saw a PR where someone made it so that you can just have 2 or 4. But yeah. Hair dynamics is in a custom build. It is in... is this the PR? Yes, this is the PR. I'll link it in the chat. So that's the PR there. So let's go inside the hair dynamics node group. So we can see substeps, constraint steps, stretchiness, bendiness, and friction, gravity, surface collision, damping effectors, and I assume that the surface collision, but yeah, what is going on there? I need to check that. But yeah, let's change some of these settings. I know we're 22 minutes in, but let's go to stretching. So we can see when it stretches some funny, what the hell? Looks like there's a few little errors with the stretching. It wants to go all the way over to there. But let's turn that to 0.5. Maybe there's like some wind in the scene. Yeah, there's wind, but it keeps doing that. Which I saw already, man. My brain is not here. That's very unfortunate. I need to lock in. What is the actual force field in there? It's not the the effectors. So there must be an object in here with an effector thing on it. No, that's a collider. Wave. Anything else in there? I'll need to look into that. So we have that. We have the bendiness, which is like that. This will try to resist as much as we can. And then the friction. Then the surface friction is like that. There's no surface bounce. Oh, we could switch it from deforming to non-deforming. Interesting. That'll probably make things a lot faster. So the collisions, looking pretty good. Yeah, looking pretty good, I'd say. Look at that. Bad, not bad. Let's go into here and see what's going on. So I took a little look at this. So we have set of structural rest data. Let's take a look at that. Knit our cache geometry. Ah! How many layers deep are we? Okay. Transfer attributes. Wait, what? Is this a new node? Wait a minute, let me check the PR. 736 commits, whoa. Is this just brands? What is this? It's a new node. Simulation tag filter. Tag filter. Wait, what is this? Tag filter? Oh. Interesting. So there are quite a few new nodes. So transfer attribute. Oh, okay. Attributes. That's a very good node. I wonder how it transfers it though. Is it only by index and if the indices match? Wouldn't be against that. That is a node that we've needed for quite a while now. Partly why I've been working on the other node with the bundles and all that, and then the solver. Okay, so there's the solver, transfer attributes, tag filter, and then get nested bundle paths. Wait, what is this? Get nested bundle paths. Oh. Bundle type and data type. Ah, it's a filter. Intriguing. Okay, this is interesting. I didn't know about any of this. Again, this is an experimental build, so I doubt that if this branch were to be merged, I would assume that these would go through a lot of changes. That's interesting. These are nodes that I would like. String lists and all that. It's interesting that they have a filter. Yeah, all that. Oh, wait a minute. Is this... Wait, how would it tell... Oh. Would this be... No, that... I don't think so. Well, we'll get to that in a second because I got some stuff I need to look at with all that. Okay, but this is a very interesting setup with a lot of interesting caching stuff that I straight up do not understand. We have the sample surface deformation, which I've made something similar to this in the past, so it's cool to see how the devs would do it. Yeah, this seems similar, using matrices and all that, still evaluated on the spline domain. So is the... it uses the sample UV, right. That makes sense, so that's working as intended. Deform curves based on the surface is using that, and then it stores the rotation based on, in correlation with the rest rotation, which is good. For the physics, we can see a lot of physics is going on, so let's go over all that. So capturing the animated stuff on the points themselves, probably just to make it faster. Set up the hair geometry for simulation, geometry tags, the root pinning, all this being put into bundles. More constraints, and they're just bundle stuff. Yep, doing all of that. Oh, right. The combined bundle, and then this... What is this again? What functionality? It's the type. So, I forget what that does. I think this is a special thing in this branch. Is this redundant now due to the get bundle item thing? Or does this nest it? I do not know. There are so many things I don't know. This is very complex and I want to take a look at all of it. Well, there are so many node groups in this. Let's see, collection effector. And then all that goes into the world, and then everything else just gets handled in this, which is nice. So you just have one node, and then you can plug in different behaviors, whatever you want, and get bundle item. You just get the hair/hair. Again, that node is very nice. I'm glad it made it. Which between that, and then you get that. So not bad, Pretty cool, pretty nice. And then, oh, wait a minute. Is this This XPBD simulation node, this would work for particles as well. I don't know what the collisions look like internal. Oh, wait a minute. I thought that, oh. I was like, yeah, no, that's so cool. It's just a node that does everything. Nope, it's a node group, which I should have expected, which I knew beforehand. But here's the actual solver, which has that and that. Just has force accumulation, apply cache. Remember previous colliders. Okay, so many node groups. Then, wait. This is so complex. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm looking at anymore. Reach sim geometry. I think we'll leave that there. And this is, wait, how many hairs is this? This is 138 hairs. 238 hairs. Okay. It's taking 30 milliseconds for that. Okay. So we have that, we have that. Let's take a look at the, well, I want to check is how many node groups? 55? Oh, mama. Okay, let's take a look at all these. Okay, we can see how often they're being used. Gravity, hair dynamics, and all other bundled assets as well. Interesting. Okay, so apply that behavior. Okay. This is incredibly complex. My small little brain. All right. Ooh, that is intimidating. But yes, we can see it works quite well. And then again with the colliders, I want to know how the colliders work, because as far as I know, bouncing is not implemented at this time. Let's see, internally, it works well. It works well. And there's all that, but yes, that is that. I was thinking maybe I'll try to apply this to my horse setup, the horse with the fur and all that, but I think it may be beyond me to implement by default right now. Though I do want to try. I don't know, maybe that's a really bad idea. Trying to implement the hair dynamics from scratch and then slowly build it up over time. Let's see, right now we're at 32 minutes. I'm going faster than I thought. I thought we would be at like 45 minutes by now. But, okay. I think I'll leave it there so that I can let the information simmer in my brain. And we'll go back to a custom build that I'm working on. For a second. Actually, let me read the chat first, because I keep neglecting all of you. I'm so sorry. Let's see. At 3D... Wait, let me check the chat again. 3D cube and drone animation. Is that possible to get those project files? Cube and drone animation. I don't remember working on that. Sorry. It might be an old project. Can you share your experience on how you approach understanding nodes, or do you have it? Oh, yeah, I answered that. Let's see. Hair dynamics, yes, is a custom build. No more copying attributes one by one. Yes, no, like it. I'm so glad that that has appeared, because I'm working on a node to get like the geometry attributes, not to transfer them, at least in my case, but would allow for that. But just having a node that'll transfer all of them automatically, that is incredibly useful, because nodes internally do that. Though it doesn't seem there are any like editable settings for like the indices and all that. Let's see. Are all these parts of the HairSim PR, or are there individual PRs for these nodes? As far as I know, they're all part of the HairSim PR, but I would have to look into that. No individual PRs. Hey Quackers, how's it going? Since Blender's geometry nodes are still evolving, what makes you choose Blender over a more established tool like Houdini? I'd love to hear your reasoning. 2 reasons. One, I've used Blender for so long, I think 10 years now. just starting off just making Minecraft animations and all that on and off, and then, of course, during COVID, started doing professional or freelance work with it. But basically, it's a foregone conclusion that I will be using Blender for most of the stuff I do. If geometry nodes did or didn't exist, I would probably still be using Blender. Like, and then maybe Houdini as a backup to like when I would need to do procedural stuff and then import that into Blender, now that Blender has proper importing for attributes and all that. But yeah, it's mainly because I'll probably be using Blender anyway because it's so versatile. While Houdini is it is very, very versatile. But Blender's a little... Oh, that's interesting. Things are slightly disconnected there. I probably screwed something up. What was I gonna say? Blender is much more lightweight, doesn't need a subscription, and you don't need to pay for it. Payment is optional. So, that's why I like it. I don't need to have an account, I don't need to have something constantly pinging a server to make sure I can use it offline. I can copy it from one computer to another without it complaining. I really like Blender and how lightweight it is and transferable it is. And also, I get paid to use Blender. Now, I have been paid to use Houdini for previous projects, but that was, oddly enough, also in conjunction with Blender. So I get paid very often to use Blender, and sometimes to use Houdini, After Effects, other Nuke. Well, haven't properly used Nuke in a production yet. But yes, so that's basically my explanation for that. While Houdini is much more powerful, I like Blender. It's my cool little toy. Let's see. Yes. Okay, let's switch to another branch. So this is a PR that I'm working on, and it's gone through so many well, not so many. Not close to 600 or whatever commits. One, where did I put you? Ah, you're still in the thing. Let's go to the, which one is it? The light build, I think. Ooh. Okay, so I need feedback from you all for this setup. So, oh wait, no. Switch back to the scene. So, there's a node that I am working on. And let's get the spreadsheet out. It's the wait, what was attribute? The attribute list node. Which you can see it looks a little bit different than last time because it has a bundle list output. Which makes it a lot more complex, and I want to get your opinion on it because I feel like it's getting a bit too complex for what its original purpose was, when it could be potentially simpler. So here we have a ton of attributes right here, but in geometry nodes, just by default, we can't go and get all that data until this node. Because before, like, you can use the named attribute node, but you would have to know the actual names. So this gets the attribute names and some other data based on developer feedback. So here we can see that we have, well, a ton of bundle items, which you can't see the stuff in there until we use a get list item node. And then we set this to be a bundle. And then we can see we get the what domain it is as a string, the data type and domain as strings, and then the name as a string. Originally, this node would only get the name as a string, and then you would be able to determine the domain and data type by filtering it beforehand. In my opinion, I think just having the filtering beforehand instead of like potentially doing after with all the data there might just be better, might be simpler. There's also the option of maybe having, instead of having a bundle, just output all the data as separate lists. But I don't know. Not sure about that. Then if we separate bundle item, it has no signature, which is something that I straight up do not want to attempt implementing with this node because it is a pain. And also, you wouldn't be... Closures can get the bundle signature, so I don't know what's up with that. You can get the data with the get bundle item node because this does not need a signature. It just looks at the actual data in here. So if I get the domain and then take a look at this, an error because capitalization. Huh? Oh, right, because this is a string. So if we take a look at this, we can see that's a point. If we switch this to be a face corner, 2D vector. Oh, wait. Wait. Actually, no, it's basically the same thing. If it was just a string name, I could switch this out and it would still get it the same. So it's more complicated, and I'm not sure adding in the bundle method. I think it may be more trouble than it's worth, if I'm being honest. 600 commits. On the hair physics using XPPD branch, it is 764 commits. That is a lot of commits. They've been working on that for a long time, trying many different things. But yeah, that is a lot of commits. A lot. Yeah. Though then again, the geometry attribute constraint I think had over 100 just because I was hitting so many walls and changing so many things with it. Let's see. Do we have a more solid estimation if attribute lists will make it into 5.2? I think it will, because I think it will, but I also thought that for 5.1, but in that case, I didn't know how soon the beta was, so no. I would say probably 5.2. It's going to be an LTS release, so it kind of makes sense that they would come through there. I think so. It would be very nice to have it because this is, I would say this is very necessary infrastructure for geometry nodes. Like, if geometry nodes can't find the first UV map on an object, that's functionality we desperately need to make these things a lot more useful. To just have geometry, it can tell, the spreadsheet knows what attributes are on the geometry, but we just can't get that data in the actual geometry nodes. So that's just stuff we need. It's just a matter of, do we filter it beforehand or get just all the attributes here? Because if I disable this just gets all the attributes. And if we take a look at this and flip through all these, we should see that this switches from, no, I want the name. Dang it. We go through here, I'll switch through all these, go through every single attribute there. But again, this doesn't need to be a bundle version. It could just be the name as a string, then maybe the other data as strings here. But I think filtering beforehand just simplifies the process by so much. You would need multiple nodes to get more, which would make it more expensive, which I think is why disabling the filter, why they recommended that. But filtering these in post is probably going to be a massive pain compared to just the user setting it. And you could always filter it afterwards if, you know, having the options, I think, is very nice. And then some users recommended just having an option for all for either the domain or the data type. Unfortunately, with the way enums work, I don't know how to have the pre-built enums here and then have a custom thing, which is just all, unfortunately. So that's why it's just a Boolean there. But it would be better if it was just in here. Weight painting procedurally generated meshes would be a dream. Yeah. And that also brings up another thing with geonodes, and this is more of just an underlying Blender thing. We cannot make vertex groups. We can change them if they're pre-existing, but we cannot make them. And that is unfortunate. That limits things a lot. I think what I would do is I would make nodes to convert between the two and then remove those when vertex groups get removed. That would be good, like, just infrastructure to make geonodes more useful until these are just turned into generic attributes. Oh, that's what I should have done. I should have made PRs for that a year ago. Just something to convert. Oh, that would have been so good. And I have so many good ideas, they're just in the future. Because just making those redundant with versioning would probably be better. Because right here, having to go through or have a Python script to switch them between the two is not great. Let's see. I like pre-filtering in my opinion. Having to do the filtering with each one you use the node will probably be a pain. Yeah. In the next module meeting, I'm gonna bring this up again. There's a lot to go over with that. Let's see. And without lists, we can only change one thing at a time, and we have to know the name, basically hard-coded. Really bad for actual rigging. Only change one at a time. Yeah. Weight painting can be done if you use something like a curve and you use proximity. Oh yeah, I have done that before, but it's just not the best, if I'm being honest. It would be nice to actually use this stuff, because right now there is the bone info node, but the problem with this node is, let me rephrase that. This node is good, but it is limited because you can't get all of the armature bone names and go through the list. So lists are needed for this, but also, if you want to ignore all the control bones, which would make using the repeat zone a lot better, you can just get the float point attribute names, put them through here, send them through. There also needs to be an exists boolean, like the named attribute node in here, so that we can skip a zone iteration if there is a non-valid bone input, just to make it even faster. But that's my vision. It's just a matter of, should it use bundles, because that could make things just a little bit more complicated. Honestly, it's not too bad. It's just technically one more node. And then if no filtering is the only option here, it would just make things a lot more annoying. So those are my thoughts on there. But the feedback has been helpful. Yeah, the vision would be bone name, do that, and then do armature deformation after the fact. Because, well, I think there's a PR for like a armature deformation node. It would be good that we can make our own, because I like, doing stuff myself. Yeah, geometry nodes is my toy, my nice fun little toy that I like to play around with and modify as I see fit. Yep. Why do we have 46 people here? Nothing is happening. I'm just rambling. But hello everyone, how's it going? Hope you're having a good, fantastic day. Over here it is, in the northeast of the USA, it is, I would say warm, but it is, let's see, what's the temperature right now? It is 5 degrees Celsius. For us Americans, that is around 40 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's a very warm day today, compared to the 0 degrees Fahrenheit we had just 2 weeks ago. That was a fun time. It interrupted my plans, which, that was not fun. I like going outside. Can't do Blender all day. Okay. Let's see. Just being able to transfer all vertex groups, all filtering with the defined prefix using proximity would enable a ton of rigging possibilities. Yeah. Just being able to transfer all vertex groups with the def prefix, or even with, not even with a prefix. Because that was one suggestion that was made. I forgot who suggested it, but it would be get all the attributes and then filter them by a user-defined thing, like having a prefix here. But if you have a rig in vertex groups that you either imported, or if you have a pre-made rig, changing the attribute names is not an option. You need to be able to filter them just by their domain and data type. It's just a matter if you do it beforehand in the node, which I believe is convenient, or after using like the bundle item data, like getting the domain and data type here, and then checking it. It just would be so many more nodes. Pretty set my ways about that. Methodology. Let's see, anything that I missed? Yeah, but that's that. I should probably go and here, let me Be right back, everyone. File open. I forgot that I have an actual... I think I have a file that has this setup. Actually, moving an object? Don't tell me I deleted that. Dang it. I don't think I deleted that. Oh, I need to go over my text animation stuff again. Well, oh, but before that, just wanted to show a little cool little project I did. So I was using grease pencil, or no, not even grease pencil in this case. I moved around objects using my stylus on my pen tablet, and then I trailed it using geometry nodes, and it's rendered using grease pencil. So that's a cool... I used to do this all the time on my Nintendo 3DS with Flipnote Studio. Just move my cursor around as I was switching frames, and it would like motion capture the strokes and all that. Doing that in Blender. Yeah, that's cool. Be right back. Let's go and open the text animation. So I will be opening this in 5.2, but I just want to show what's going on with this. So, oh, I should also check if they would want this as like a demo file. Uh-oh. Whoa, 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 what's going on here? That's not good. Why am I getting 15 frames per second? No, that's not it's supposed to go. 16 milliseconds? That's high. Something went wrong here. Maybe it's because this is a build. Let me open this and I deleted the 5.1 build. Never mind. I will resurrect it from scratch. Still have that? Yes, I do. Just need to transfer that out of my recycle bin. This, oh wait, this one might still have the bug in there. Sorry that I'm going through. You're getting to see my very nice Be Right Back screen. That was made using geometry nodes, and the side parts were made using geometry nodes, a plexus effect that I made way back when. The middle part is just a shader, and then the text right there, I believe, is just regularly animated. So, that's cool. I really like that. Oh, and then the hexagon shader is also procedural. Where the heck did I put that thing? Once again, let's check this. So in here, is this also... Yeah, here I'm getting 24 frames per second. What causes slowdown? Oh, okay. So there has been a major performance regression. I changed this from 4.2 milliseconds to 16 milliseconds. Okay, I'll need to look into why that happened. Okay. That's... Yeah, no, because that is... It should not take 16 milliseconds for all that. But yeah, anyway. So here is the text animation tool. Once again, you know, it has everything right there. You can now use the word index because that got merged for this part. Let me go and toggle window full screen. So this could be a cool demo file. Just have a nice little modifier right here. Instead of it being named string to curves, it would be, hey, text animation. You can pick the font, you can pick the material, and all that just goes through. You can add in a shadow if you want. Maybe not a bounding box, or maybe I should have that option. Yeah, I should have the option for a bounding box. But yeah, just imagine, you know, things you can do with this. Pretty cool. There are a few things I'm working on with this. You can change the bias to be per word or per letter. So here we can have it be biased towards that. We can see that works out very, very well. I need to look through that, thing, that performance regression. Let's see. Oh, hey, mod. Yeah, I wonder what would cause that, because again, this is 4 milliseconds versus 16 milliseconds. I don't know what could have changed it. That one fix might not have been that. I'll look into it, maybe make a bug report, because that would be very annoying. Also, when is Blender 5.1 coming out? Here, 5.1 release date. When is that? March 11th. Oh, no, that's soon. Actually, no, that's not. That's 20 days away. No, that's plenty of time. That's plenty of time. Okay. Try to hide the modifier UI and see if it'll speed up. Just in case, is this a custom release build? The one I tried previously was the 5.2 hair build, so maybe it was because of that, but I'm pretty sure that was a release build. While this one is like a daily build. I'll look into a mod and I'll make a bug report if I can find it. Maybe shader compilation? No, the shaders are compiled. We can see from the timing it was a GeoNodes thing. And unfortunately, I've made this thing rather complex. So, yeah. Oh, and I forgot. Yeah, I could change that from random character symbols to random characters. I wonder how that would work for... I still don't know how this will work with other languages. I also need to change the gradient because this part still annoys me. That part still annoys me. But other than that, like the word ID is in, even the text box bug was fixed, which was good. I'm so happy about that. And then there is all that. Let's see. And I think that's pretty much everything. We're pretty much at an hour. So we've gone over a lot today. Mainly the Eevee stuff. Yeah, mod, while I have you here, is it a bad idea for me to try to make a PR to convert vertex groups to float point attributes and vice versa? That can be versioned out when vertex groups become generic. Because I don't know how long it's going to be until then, and I think, personally, it would be important to have that as an option. Because I think... You mean as part of modifier evaluation? Oh, is that going to be a problem? Yeah. Just because, like, just for functionality. For previous things, I would have to, like, make gradients... Either have a ton of vertex groups with just generic names and then modify them using geometry nodes, because you probably already know this. You definitely already know this. But again, with vertex groups, we can modify them. We just can't create them. Hans already made it so that vertex groups are treated as attributes and maintenance as is while it is possible. Oh, I'll need to look into that. Wait, let me also check. I'll need to look into that mod. If you have that PR available, I would like to see it. Don't want to reinvent the wheel. It's better to not create vertex groups and modifier. That is unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because a lot of Blender still uses like the vertex group system, and it makes it so that like this, and we can't generate the things using GeoNodes. So right now, with how things currently are, this is just a workflow thing, not thinking about the technical side. If I generate a mesh and then create a float attribute on there, I just can't use stuff like a displace modifier with this stuff on there. Float point attributes and all that fun stuff. Yeah, that's the issue that I would like to solve. Even if, because I assume it's going to be quite a while before create a node group for the displace modifier. I'm talking more like for the average user. Like the average user, and like with the armature modifier and stuff like that. These use vertex groups and all that, but the average user isn't going to want to make their own displace modifier just to use float attributes. And me included with that. Stuff like just most of these modifiers. It's something that I would like to take a look at. Add a PR for that node group to come into Blender. Yeah. Actually, wait, isn't there already... I forget, there's a displace... Oh no, I made that. Never mind. I've got what assets are available. That would be not that. I forget if they added in one for that with the closure. But yeah, I don't think at least within the next 2 to 3 years, I don't think all of these will be converted to geometry nodes modifiers. I think it would be good if there was a bit of compatibility between GeoNodes and them, just by being able to create vertex group. Actually, wait. Would I even need a node to convert flow attributes to vertex groups, or just create a vertex group and then populate it with a named attribute? I mean, it's a workaround, but it's a workaround until there doesn't need to be a workaround. Yeah. I'll look into that. I'll maybe bring it up in a module meeting. Though that might be a bad idea. If it's already a bad idea. Oops, dropped something. But yeah, just in terms of like what I've needed geometry nodes for and what geometry nodes can do, I want to close that gap. And vertex groups have been a regular pain in my buttocks. Yeah, that, and then being able to get the attributes inside of geometry nodes, either by their name or the bundle. But yes, with all that, lots of discussions happening. And also, Mod, if I could get your one opinion, let's go back to where we started today. Would it be an awful idea for me to potentially make a PR for Eevee with the dithering options I mentioned? It's not my place because I know basically nothing about Eevee's code. But in my opinion, you know, it would be nice to have options for either blue noise dithering, no dithering, or the ordered dithering. You know. These live streams, I apologize for anyone who's here wanting to actually learn geometry nodes, because we have 50 people here. Why do we have 50 people here? But this is just my rambling while talking about Blender. Because to explain myself, I use Blender and geometry nodes very often for work. So my live streams are like my me time with the geometry nodes, where I work on little projects. Let's see. I believe you can already emulate most of the use cases of textures. Oh, and modifiers. Yeah, with that, it's just the concept of having to make our own modifiers for everything, or adding in the little bit of glue between geometry nodes and the legacy modifiers. Because it's gonna be a while before vertex groups are synonymous with regular float point attributes, generic float point attributes. I think, unless it's already been changed. I haven't heard news about that. But yeah, I guess this is me making my geometry nodes Christmas list and seeing which ones I can try to check the boxes of. But yeah. I see this effect in a chat, but I didn't read the context. What is this and why? Basically, here, let me get the better looking one. Basically, with Eevee Next, I don't know how often you use Eevee Next mod, but people, especially in NPR circumstances, have disliked the noise pattern there. So I was like, what would happen if I just changed the 2 lines of code for the blue noise and then made it either jittered, like it kind of was in Eevee Legacy, because even in Eevee Next, when you try to jitter the shadows, there's still noise that applies to it, which is still somewhat annoying. Or having it be an ordered pattern like this. Now again, I don't know what I'm doing. This is just a test to see if it could potentially be a good idea. I like this pattern, even though, yeah. And with denoising, it's probably a bad idea as well. But yeah, like with cycles, in cycles you have the option to turn off the noise and just have it be stepped. Or the classic noise pattern, or the other oh, what if I changed cycles to use an ordered dithering? That's a very bad idea given how good our denoisers are nowadays. I kind of want to try that. I don't know, this is just my rambling stream. So alright, I think that is it for today. So we're ending the stream where we began, playing around with Eevee's dithering. Thank you all for watching. I hope you found this at least somewhat interesting. I'm guessing the reaction for customizing the Eevee dithering would largely be why. I think you're right. But why? I think my strongest argument for that would be, why is it in cycles as well? And it's just for customization, and then at least the NPR option that people wanted. Potentially. It's still, why is this a problem? The NPR people. I'm not too sure if it would be cool, would be that appealing enough for a reason for the other devs. Yeah, I know. But I can dream. I guess this would be like the community feedback side. If the NPR people would be interested enough to have just an option in the advanced panel to switch between the different noise types. Just one more menu part there to switch between the different types. Maybe. New compositor effect time. I mean, if we could... Is that even possible? Would it even be possible to do all the screen? No, it wouldn't be. Because the shadows need the shadow maps and all that. Have you tried making OSL shaders? No, doesn't work on the GPU. And not an Eevee. Also interesting how I can see some of the samples like to go around 0, there. Maybe you just need to... Oh no, it's not 0 based. Interesting. But yeah, fun little experiments. Okay, I have rambled for a long enough... Why do I keep doing that? I've rambled for a long enough time. I'll keep the stream up for just a little bit in case people want to show other people and like to... I don't know, get community feedback on stuff. I want to see if there is a desire for different Eevee dithering patterns, and then also for the vertex groups. Yeah, this is basically my, hey, put in the comments if you would like this, or this, and I'll see if I can try to cook up at least a work-in-progress PR to get the dev opinions on. Yeah. Oh, interesting pattern right there. I'm not sure if you can see any of this in the actual stream because of compression. But yes, ask your last questions now. I am hungry. I need to get food. Yes. Yep. Let's wait a little bit for that to go through. There's a shadow pass for the compositor. Yeah, but this affects how that shadow pass would be made. Because I took a little look at the virtual shadow map code, and it's interesting. Didn't understand any of it, but it was interesting. Also, fast GI approximation. It's interesting how there's also, I think, is this like the angle that does stuff there? I forget which part does what. And the precision, the bias. All of it's quite interesting. Here, if we turn that off, it gives a better looking result there, but more noise, which is why I made this, so that it would just have tons and tons of noise. Are you having video courses, or can you recommend courses for learning and understanding geometry nodes? I've had so many, not sponsorship offers, but offers for me to make courses for various companies, and people asked me so many times to make a course or tutorials and all that. Unfortunately, I don't really have time for it. This is my time for working on, like, just Blender stuff in general. Like, just when I have, like, 10 to 15 minutes here and there, I'm either, like, playing with the source code and stuff like that, or working on a little project here or there. But unfortunately, I do not have time for making tutorials anymore. Last time I did have that time, it was probably 2 years ago. So unfortunately, I won't be able to make any, but to get to your point, I think Ducky 3D would be a good option. Those ones seem very digestible, even for newer and intermediate users alike. Well, I think that would be good. Alright, I think that's everything for today. Thank you all for watching. Put all of your opinions in the comments, so I can see what I should look into. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.